All right, so it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, Marie. Welcome. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So what we're going to talk about today is that it's kind of the prep work for when you get a listing. So as soon as you get a listing call, the steps that you're going to do before you go meet to them. And it's primarily going to focus on the pre-listing interview, which is the questions you would ask the seller. Um, so before you go meet with them, and it gives you basically the roadmap for how to prepare. And then we're going to prepare and go over, can y'all see this? A pre-listing drop-off. So this is an example of how the bags would look, and I'm in the process of ordering them. Um, but then in the bag, you would put the actual collection of information that you will put together about the property. And it's all of the information about you and the company that they look at in advance of you coming to meet them. So this would be your pre-listing drop-off is what we're calling this. So let me just start by sharing my screen, and I'm just going to go over what would be in the pre-listing drop-off or the pre-listing interview. All right, so basically what is a pre-listing interview? It's this list of questions that you're going to go through and ask the seller, and I do want you guys to practice that today. It builds rapport and trust because what you're demonstrating to them is that you care about what's important to them. It demonstrates that you're preparing, so it builds rapport and trust. It gives you answers to questions about what is the condition of the property. It answers the question, how do they want to be communicated with? What are they looking for in a realtor? And then when you do this list of questions, conversational style, not of course robot style, like you're reading it off, but you do want to do the questions and take notes so that you're prepared. So a pre-listing interview, when is that done? So let's say you got a property call today and they said that they wanted to list the house and you're scheduling the appointment to come meet with them. You would go through and say, okay, in order for me to be prepared, I need to ask you some questions. Do you have a few minutes for me to ask the questions? And of course, they're going to say yes. And if they say no, which I've never had, but I've heard that happen, then you say, okay, when would be a good time for me later today or this evening to spend about 5 or 10 minutes with you asking some questions so you could be prepared. And then of course you would just set it up whenever that's convenient. And then in the pre-listing interview, you're going to reference your pre-listing drop-off and you're going to say, I'm going to prepare some information and I will have it dropped off to your house this evening or tomorrow morning, sometime in advance of the appointment. So the goal is that you want them to look at that content before you head over there. So this is the pre-listing interview, and I'm going to email it to all of you because I want you to practice it. And I'm going to give you all of the content on here. All right, so you're going to ask them, of course, you'll have their name. You'll ask them for the property address, and then you'll double check and see if the property address is different than the mailing address. And the reason you want the mailing address is because you're probably going to where you drop off the mailing address is probably where you're going to drop off your pre-listing packet. If you're going to do a thank you note afterward, you need to know if they live someplace differently. Then asking about the owner or decision makers, because it may be the husband that's calling you to schedule the appointment, but is his wife going to be there? Or maybe it's the daughter that's calling and really her and her parents are on the loan or they have to sign off on selling the house. So you need to know who they are So the question can be something like, so yeah, Jennifer, I see that you're calling me to list the house. Is there anybody else that is an owner or a decision maker in the property with you, a husband or a family member? And that's usually easy to get. By asking for their phone number, you're going to find out their preference. Do they prefer phone? Do they prefer text? Do they prefer email? And then why are they selling? I love these questions. And when do they need to move? Because you want to guess what that tells you about these people? Anybody? All right.
It can tell you. Oh, I think one thing it can tell you about the seller is if they're motivated.
Yes, yes, yes. So when they answer this question, why are they selling? Oh, well, we saw that the market was high, and if we can get, our dream dollar amount, then we'll sell. That's a very different seller than my husband's lost his job, and we're going to move to our lake house. We need to get rid of this big debt, right? And then when do you need to move by? Are they trying to make school in the new town? Are they going before a baby's being born? So motivation is a big factor when you're dealing with clients, and understanding that before you go in, it's very huge, really. And then the questions about, could you describe your house for me? Most agents, especially newer agents, get their address, maybe they get their square foot, and that's usually it. And then they go to the tax records and start their research. So if any of you ever heard me say anything about the tax records before, what do I say about it usually? It's the least reliable source of information. So if you're doing your whole listing presentation alone only by the data in the tax records, you could be way off, because it wouldn't be uncommon for the tax records to say it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,100 square foot, when really it's a 4-bedroom, 2,500 square foot with a 3-car garage. So by asking these about the house questions, you're going to get the detail that you need in order to have a good CMA and not just relying on the tax records. So ask them about.
Michelle, all of this is to be done over the phone before we actually see them and visit with them, right?
Absolutely.
Now, what if they tell me that the tax records are wrong and that their house is bigger or smaller than it says? Is there any way for us to validate that other than,
I would rely on what the sellers are saying. So I would put, if the sellers, because at the time you're doing this, you probably haven't even pulled up the tax records yet. Yeah. So you're going to just gather the information that they give you. And if what they give you is substantially different than what you find in the tax records, you're also going to go back and search matrix, right? You're going to see, was it listed before? And you're going to try to see if you can get multiple points of data. If you see that, like I've seen listings where the square foot is 400 square foot different, tax records and what the seller is saying, I would make a call to the seller and say, you mentioned to me that your house was 2,100 square foot, but I'm really finding in the tax records that it's only 1,600. Can you tell me how you came to the 2,100 square foot? Now they may have, when they bought it, they may have seen the appraisal and their appraisal shows 2,100 square foot. Well, that would be, we would consider that a very valuable piece of information and accurate versus the tax records.
Okay.
Okay, good question. How long have they owned the home? What was the feature that sold you on the house when they bought it? That's going to tell you what is the key selling point, really. Did they like the backyard or the big open kitchen? That also tells you if these people like this feature, that's probably the selling feature for the next buyer. And then what updates have they done since they bought the house? So chances are you will be able to find this listing when they sold it in MLS. And if you look at it and you go, oh yeah, this house, gosh, it has laminate countertops, it has regular carpet. And without asking this question, you don't know, have they done anything? So you'll be able to say, yeah, this listing in MLS, they're telling me they've put carpet, they've put hardwood floors throughout, they redid the kitchen, they've redone the bathroom. So you're getting a good picture of what changes have been done to the property. This is one of my favorite questions, and it says, look at your home through a buyer's eye. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rank your house? And this is where honesty starts coming in. Because when they're telling you about their house and the features, they're speaking from generally a point of pride. But when you ask what would be done if you stayed there for a while longer, and I skipped that question, if you were to stay in your home another 5 years, is there anything you would do to it? So at my house, when I bought my house, I was like, oh yeah, we're just going to pay separately to get the granite put in. Well, here it is 20 years later, and I still have laminate countertops. So if someone asked me that question, I would say, yes, I would replace the carpet. I would update the kitchen because I still have laminate. I would do the bathroom because I still have vinyl in my bathroom, those kind of things. So the original questions, what you like about your house, what updates have you done, come from a pride point of view, but what would you do if you stayed there? And if you looked at it from a buyer's mind, kind of takes it down to a little bit more humble, honest view. So you get two different points of view when you're assessing the property through their eyes. And then what are you going to be asking for the property? Sometimes they'll say right off the bat, I need to get $300,000, or I don't know, that's what I'm asking you for. Have they had an appraisal? Have they recently refinanced? Because if they've had an appraisal from a refinance, we would like to know that. Have they recently refinanced? The reason we would ask that question is it may show that they're upside down. Somebody who's refinanced may have taken cash out. Again, it's just to help you get a bigger picture. And then what do you owe on the property? A first and a second loan. Again, to find out, are they upside down? Do they have a lot of equity? Where are they financially? Are there any questions based on this so far? No? Good. All right. Another one of my favorite questions. What are 3 things you're looking for in a realtor? All right, so why do you think this is important, guys? Yes. Why is it important? What are 3 things
Not to do.
Say it again.
So we know what not to do, the same mistakes that some other agent made before.
Okay, good.
Better
Yeah.
than them.
Yeah. What else? What are
We're
3
not
things
making-
you're looking for in a realtor?
We're not making assumptions about what they're looking for.
Exactly.
So this way we know for sure, and then we can address it, especially when we meet with them one-on-one.
Exactly. So if they say, I want a realtor that only responds to me in text, I want a realtor that is straight up and tells me exactly how it is, and I want a realtor that's going to call me every day, right? Well, then you know when you meet with them that you're going to tell them exactly how you're going to meet those 3 goals. Common things that you hear: I want a realtor that communicates with me clear, I want a realtor that's honest with me, and I want a realtor that's going to help me negotiate for the best price. But if you miss asking this question, then you don't know what's important to them and you don't know how to meet their goals. All right, are you interviewing other brokers? The reason this question is asked is some realtors want to be the very first realtor at a listing appointment because they want to try to walk out of there with a signed listing agreement. Some realtors want to be the last agent because they want to wait until every other realtor has been through, and then they know all of the objections, and the sellers have been through everything, and now they know what they didn't like, and they're going to try to be better than the other one. So you all probably haven't developed your idea yet. Colleen, do you have an opinion yet? Do you like to be first or last?
don't know for sure.
Okay.
You know, sometimes being first, like you said, if you can wow them, but a lot of times when I am dealing with people who are telling me they're interviewing other realtors, when I know that and the way they say it,
Uh-huh.
I would prefer to be last,
Got it.
because then I'm leaving that last impression, and hopefully I've wowed them so that they'll sign with me on that day. Otherwise, if you're first, sometimes they may like you, but they're kind of like, well, let me wait and see what these other two say.
Right.
So,
So I've seen it across the board different. You will eventually develop your own style or what is important to you. And then,
it's all right. It's all right. See, I've always been hesitant to ask them who else they're interviewing. So,
Mhm.
so it's okay to ask them that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, would I go into the time? I didn't ask the time. I wanted to know when. We always wanted to be first, so I guess we did. But I would say the reason I'm asking you is I would like to be first. I would like to be the first appointment, and then I just asked, could I be scheduled to come before the first appointment? And then, have you considered going for sale by owner? Who wants to guess or give me their opinion why we want to ask that question? No wrong answers. Why do we want to ask that? Okay. The reason we want to ask the question again is if they're considering going for sale by owner, we want to go in with our guns loaded for bear. We want to know if they're considering for sale by owner, we want to go in with all the stats that show why for sale by owner doesn't work, the time frame for sale by owners, that they end up selling for less. We want to go in prepared to overcome that objection before it even comes up. And if it's not an objection, if it's something that they're not worried about, then great. We also want to know if that's not an issue. And then, of course, how did they get my name? Because if you want to know what marketing worked, how did they find you? Or if it was a referral, of course, you want to thank the person that did the referral. And if it came from a past client referral, sometimes those can be easier than somebody that's never met you before and doesn't know anything about you. And then, do you have any questions for me? It's just the last moment for them to ask any questions that you haven't addressed or haven't naturally come up. And then explain what happens next. One call, two call. That means, is it a one-step appointment or two-step appointment? And my plan is that by doing this pre-listing interview, you just go in one time and you don't have to do two separate appointments. And then letting them know that you're going to be dropping off the pre-listing packet. So let's say if we have scheduled our appointment for Saturday at 10 o'clock, I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to prepare helpful information. I'm going to have it dropped off to your house by Friday morning. It's going to have information about our company, about me, and the marketing that we do. So I'm going to have that dropped off in a bag at your front door Friday morning. Will you just confirm with me that you and your husband will be able to review it before I get there Saturday morning? So they know it's coming. You've asked them to look at it. You've told them what to expect, and you're asking them to read it and look at it before we get there. All right. Any questions on the pre-listing interview? What do you think of it? Yeah. Right.
Absolutely useful.
Yeah.
I think we need to have them in our cars because sometimes we get phone calls while we're driving so that we're ready to pull over and ask all those questions.
Exactly. So I would say save it on your phone, because wherever you are, if you've at least got the copy of it on your phone, you can go through and ask all of the questions. Of course, like Marie said, have copies at your phone, have copies at your desk. So wherever you are, you'll be prepared to ask the questions. All right, so the pre-listing package. It's interesting because I think it was in 2008, we me and our team at Remax went to, there was a national trainer, his name was Craig Proctor. So we went to Anaheim, California for a 3-day convention, and he was talking about in 2008 pre-listing drop-offs. And I remember, David, we were like, oh my gosh, that's a game changer. We've got to do it. We've got to do it. Well, we never developed our pre-listing drop-off. So we never used it. And then about 3 years ago, Gary Greene brought a national trainer, David Knox, to Houston. And he did a presentation to all of the agents, and there were like 400 agents there. And David Knox was going through listings and how to get listings. And one of the questions he asked is, all right, 400 people in the audience, and he says, raise your hand if you're doing a pre-listing drop-off. And I'll never forget that there were 4 Gary Greene agents doing a pre-listing drop-off. And he just could not believe it, because, so this is not a new thing. It's an old thing. I first heard about it in 2008. 3 or 4 years ago, David Knox was talking about a pre-listing packet. And basically he said, I don't care what you do or what you drop off, but you need to have something dropped off in advance of your appointment. Even if it's just an introduction letter and a thank you note, and you prepare it and you drop it off in advance, because nobody else is doing it. It's an absolute differentiator. So why would we do a pre-listing drop-off? Of course, to me, the biggest reason is we want to stand out from all of the 38,000 realtors in the industry. So we use it to demonstrate that you and Gary Greene can get the highest possible price for the least amount of hassle, which is what every seller wants. We want to educate them about what to expect in the process of selling their home. So the content that we give in the package will educate them. It will give them an in-depth look at our marketing and sales skills. And then it's going to give statistic and social proof of Gary Greene and why you. And the reason you do this in advance is because the consumer, before they meet with you, they're in the mindset of gathering information. They're researching realtors. What does it take to sell my house? How do I get maximum value? What makes the best realtor? So they're information hungry. So when you give them this, they're in the mindset to read and go and research and look at it every day. If you wait to give all of this information until you're there, by the time you walk in the door, what is the only thing that they care about hearing from you?
Value of their home, price.
The price, that's right. They don't want to hear you talking about how whoopty you and Gary Greene is. The only thing they want to hear from you is how high are you going to sell your price? So, and that's why I still say it, but I don't think the proper term for meeting with sellers should be a presentation. Because if we're doing a listing presentation, who is doing the talking?
We are.
You are, that's correct. And the fastest way to not build rapport and not build a relationship is by you doing all the talking. So when you give the consumer everything whoopty about you, everything they need to determine that you are the best in advance, they will do that on their own. So when you go on the listing appointment, the only thing you have to do is build rapport, find out what's important to them, let them tour you around the house, and then immediately be able to go in to the pricing, because they will have looked at all of this information about you. So when you walk into the appointment, you can set your stuff down at the table and then ask them to give you a tour of the home. While they're giving you the tour of the home, you're going to make notes about the property. You're going to ask them questions. You're going to acknowledge the stuff that's beautiful in their house, right? You're building that rapport. When you're done touring the property, you're going to go to the table and you're going to say, probably the seller will have it sitting out. but you'll say, all right, the package information that I dropped off yesterday, did you guys get a chance to look at it? And do you have any questions? And then you're only addressing the parts that they don't have the parts that they have questions about. You're not having to go page by page, remembering everything and talking about you and the company. Does that make sense? All right, so this page, this pre-listing packet, is a collection of information that could be included in a pre-listing drop-off. So sample marketing brochures and postcards. In here, I have that. So you're just going to take the, you guys can order, and this I do want to make sure that I say, if you have not yet, make a ticket to Happy Fox and order listing brochures that have your name on it, that are personalized for you. It's okay if you don't have a listing yet. Just let Happy Fox know. You can say, I'm a new agent. Michelle told me I need to order a set of my own listing brochures and just listed postcards that are branded you. That way, when you go on a listing appointment, you have pretty examples to share. So they'll use any of our company pictures and they'll just put your information on it. So you've got those ready for your listing appointment.
So we just say listing brochures and they'll give us a variety or put together a variety, or do we need to say like open house brochures or anything?
No,
like that?
I would say I'm a new agent. I need a set of listing brochures. I don't have a listing yet, but I need a set of listing brochures and just listed postcards so I have my own content when I get my appointment, when I get my first listing appointment. Just let them know that you're getting samples that you want to be able to share for when you get your own appointment. They know that new agents will be asking for this. We've already had that conversation with marketing. And if you just explain it that you're new and you need samples for your own, they'll just pick it out for you and they'll send it to you. So a listing brochure and just listed postcards. All right. So then you would include your resume or your bio. So everybody had marketing create a bio for them. And then if all you have is your bio, that's totally fine. If you don't have awards or recognition yet, that's totally fine. Compelling stats. And again, you may not have this yet for your personal numbers, but you can use Gary Greene's numbers. So we have the broker ranking report that comes out that talks about Gary Greene being #1 on all of these listings sold, all of that. So that can be your compelling stats. The next one it talks about is social proof or testimonials. So if you're a new agent and you don't have transactions yet where you have testimonials from clients, that's okay, because testimonials and social proof does not have to come only from closed transactions. Each of you have people who know you in a different capacity, right? Lewis, you have past clients that you've worked with. You have friends or family that you've worked with that can talk about you as a person and how you interact with people. So it doesn't have to be, he sold my house at record high price at the fastest amount of time. It can be, I have worked with Lewis for many years. I find him to be very ethical, easy to work with, and concentrates on customer service, right? So that could be in any capacity that they know you. So you can just, and I would get each of you, there's no reason that you probably couldn't get 4 or 5 people who can give you a testimonial as a person in it completely unrelated to real estate. All right, details about your marketing program. I have a marketing commitment that I'm going to share with you and that I'll go over. And then information about the process that's included in this listing presentation. And we have these all here at the front desk with Julia. There's no charge for these. And it has the pocket, so it has all of the listing information, and then it's got a pocket in the back for you to put these sheets. And Julia has examples up here for you, so if you're here, you want to get an example and start working on it, come and get it. So my goal is that each of you are doing, after today, at least get a listing presentation put together. Like broker metrics, if you're Gary Greene agents, we have a lot of market share. And if you're going on a listing that you know is a competing listing, you know that there's another agent, ask me as soon as you can, because I can run, it's called broker metrics, and it's a bar graph that hopefully will show where does Gary Greene rank. Like hopefully we have the most listings, or we represented the most buyers, we have the market share. So if I can pull it by your zip code, or I can pull it by your subdivision, I'm happy to give that to you also. And then snacks or something for kids, or if they're pets. So if you find out that they have little kids, or if they have pets, when you do your drop off, you might want to include something for that. So you put your pre-listing in the bag, and if you know they have kids, in here there's room to put like a bag of popcorn and sugar-free drinks or something, or dog biscuits for the dog. So it's part of the whole presentation when you're dropping information off to the sellers. Any questions so far? No? All right, so I have scanned examples of what is in these pages. So I have all of this that I'm going to email to you guys, but this is a template. You can see that this paper, and we have the special paper here, is how you could print your bio on this paper that matches. Now, like Louis, Joe, you guys probably got the fancy paper that came from marketing with your bio. That's completely fine to use. So you would put your bio that you get from marketing, client testimonials. This again is a template that all you have to do is input the testimonials from the people. And then of course the broker ranking report. And the broker ranking report comes out every single month. So you're just going to put the most recent broker ranking report. And it looks, marketing has changed it, so it doesn't look exactly like this. But this is, probably most all of you saw this when I interview you as new agent. And it's impressive to be able to say, you can say we, that's you and your company has this market share. Another piece of statistical data that we have in the back, it's basically a Word version of this form. All right, and now we have the marketing commitment. The sellers hire agents because they want you to sell the home. We say we're going to list the home. The seller doesn't want you to list their home. They don't want it listed. They want you to sell it. So as realtors, we are marketing machines, and the seller wants to know, what are you going to do to sell my house in the shortest amount of time at the highest price with the least amount of hassle? So this marketing commitment I developed, and what I love about it is the majority of all of these activities on this marketing commitment are included and free to you because it's part of what Gary Greene does. So there's very little that is going to be extra. That's going to cost you extra money. The other reason I created this form is at my other company, I had an agent, she was probably 30 years in the business. And she came in after getting a call from a seller that she lost a listing, and she was so upset. And I was like, why, how did you lose the listing? And she just could not believe that the seller chose another agent because the other agent said she's putting it in MLS. Of course, every realtor is going to be listed in an MLS. The other agent specifically said that she was going to list it in MLS, and my agent did not. So the seller assumed the agent was not going to put it in MLS. So things that you and I take for granted that we know every single agent does, the consumer doesn't know that. So when we make a comprehensive list of all of the activities that we're going to do, that is a complete marketing plan. So the objective to the seller is that we're going to try to get as many qualified buyers through as possible. We're promising that we're going to communicate with the seller, and I've got an example that I'll show that to you, and that we're going to get the highest possible dollar in it with a stress-free process. How we're going to do that is we're going to give a market analysis. So that's your CMA, right? You're going to analyze the comps. You're also going to look at the month supply and the inventory in MLS. We're going to consider what's happening with showing time, the price, the number of showings that houses are getting relative to their price range. Maybe if you price it at $450, you're going to get more showings than if it was priced at $455. And you can do that search in showing time. We're going to give you a net sheet that lists everything what it's going to cost you, so there's no surprises. And of course, we're going to get a listing agreement that allows us to market the home. And then if we have to do property enhancements, for example, let's say it needs carpet and paint, or the seller needs to replace siding outside, you can recommend handyman, and maybe you can help them through that process. That's basically what we're talking about here. If the house needs to be staged, you can help get a stager. Now I realize now you may not have relationships with a stager, but that would be one thing that you will eventually work on. There's plenty of agents in the office that have relationships with stager. Blythe Kirkwood is an agent that is a stager that I know of. Colleen, do you have, or Monet, or who else is experienced on here that has stagers? Basically, my point is, if you need help with staging, it's easy to get, and we'll help connect you to someone that does staging. All right, and then we're going to actively market the home until it's sold. And this is a comprehensive list of everything that you would do. All right, professional photographs. We're going to list it in MLS, and we're going to put 36 listings because you will hire a professional photographer. I say you will. My recommendation is that you definitely hire a professional photographer for your listings. If you guys have worked on comps, it's easy to tell listings that don't have professional photos, and it is a game changer when you have professional photos versus not. You're going to put a for sale sign in the yard with a descriptive writer. You're going to put a computerized lockbox for stress-free showings. You're going to do essential or showing time to coordinate showings. You're going to promote the website to 1,000 Gary Greene agents. You're going to use sizzle words for your listing descriptions, an outside brochure box with no price designed to generate inquiries. If you guys have questions, do you guys have any questions? I'm just running through this. Do I need to stop and explain anything? Please ask. No? Okay, I'm going to keep going then. All right, newly customized new listed email blast to all MLS. So that's an e-blast from your impact to the agents in the area, and we will help you do that because I can get the list of agents in a certain zip code. We can upload it to your impact, and then you're able to send e-blasts through impact. Do I think that's a way to sell the house? Probably not, but it's a very cheap, inexpensive, easy way to be able to do an activity, for the seller. So these yellow marks here help you see how it's done, and it's for you, so you know, okay, gosh, Michelle said I could do that. How do we do this? When you create your own marketing commitment, you're going to remove all this yellow stuff. This is just the notes for you guys. E-blast to your past clients, people in open house. Again, you have those contacts in your impact, your database. You'll just send an e-blast to them. Post a video slideshow to YouTube. YouTube is the #1 searched video website. So you've paid $125 for your professional photography. You can use this app called Quick. It's free. And you stitch all of your 36 professional photos together and you post it to YouTube. So now you've got a YouTube channel. And if someone Googled this house 1234 Jones Road, your video on YouTube would come up. So when you're, first of all, it's whoopty marketing for a seller, and then having your own YouTube channel with all of your listings, and then the SEO juice of having it on YouTube is pretty great. And then mail just listed postcards. Andrea in our office, she does that automatically for you. You guys filled out the just listed, just sold postcard little order form that said, how do you want your new listings to be sent out, how you want your just solds to be sent out. That will automatically happen. And so as soon as your listing goes live, you'll get an email from Andrea saying she's going to be sending out your just listed postcards. And then featuring on 21 international listing portals, that's automatic through Gary Greene. And I cannot remember the program that it's through, but it's automatic through Gary Greene. What is that called? Pinpoint. This is the one feature that may be extra for you. It's Pinpoint is a program that we have through Better Homes and Gardens, and it's where it allows you to do a demographic search of the most likely buyer for this property. So let's say you have a listing in Lakes of Fairhaven. Lakes of Fairhaven is the move-up neighborhood for Fairfield. So we know that the Lakes of Fairhaven is $500,000–600,000 price range. So the likely buyer for that neighborhood probably makes, I don't know, $150,000 to $200,000 a year. They have children. They're not first-time home buyers, and they live in that 77429 zip code, likely. You can put those demographics into Pinpoint and do a search, and it will say, here are 300 people that fit that demographic. If you choose, you can do a marketing piece to those people. So in your listing presentation, you would say, seller, not only am I going to do all of these things, which is marketing to the masses, but I'm going to specifically do a mailer to the most likely buyer for your property. And then you can decide how many that you would mail out. Just, I want you to be aware Pinpoint is an extra cost. So be sure that you're going to do that before you include this. So this might be one that you want to take out if you didn't want to spend anything extra. Feature your home on internets to 1,000 website. Again, that's automatic. A custom website. This says that it's through HR. It's actually now included through Impact. So it's its own, it's called a single property website, where it will have its own specific URL that takes you directly to the listing of that property. Seller, I'm going to create a website just for your house. I'll share you the link, and you'll be able to share it with everybody that you know. I'm going to do, all right, so use the Cardis Brokers nationwide reload network. That happens automatically through our reload department. Just display listing brochures. That's what you see in the window of as you walk in the front door, the listing brochures that are hanging outside the window. That's automatic. Through property syndication, 40 million, automatic. You will create and host a video of your property to be featured on your business Facebook page. So that's, hey, it's Michelle. I just wanted to introduce you to my brand new listing here at 1234 Jones Road. It's listed at $365. It's got a fabulous kitchen, a great backyard. Here's a link to the listing, and call me if you have any questions. So you've created a video of you telling about the property. You've copied the link to your impact website and you share it on Facebook. Better Homes and Gardens pays to boost your listing on Facebook automatically. You get an email that you have to watch for, and it comes in like within a day or two of your listing, and you say, yep, boost it, and they pay to boost it on Facebook. Advertising, you're gonna hold an open house if the seller agrees. We'll post the open house information on Facebook, to your Facebook, to the business Facebook, the office Facebook page. That again happens automatic. Here's one feature that you may choose to do or not. So seller's coverage through American Home Shield. It costs $70 if you want to get seller's coverage through a home warranty company. This is American Home Shield. So you've heard of home warranties where they give certain kind of warranty over a 1-year period of time at closing. This is additional coverage that the seller can get and that you can pay for if you choose, where from when it's listed till closing, it has some of the same coverage. So if their air conditioner goes out while it's listed, if something comes up on the inspection report, this would help cover some of those costs.
So it doesn't matter how long it's being listed. It could be on there for months and they will still cover it.
It's, I think seller's coverage lasts for 6 months, but I think it is renewable. Let's see, property tour. So we haven't been doing property tour because of COVID, but we normally have office meeting on Tuesday, and then we would go tour the new listings. If you got a new listing, I would still leave this in there because we could do the tour via Zoom. We could pull the listing up on Matrix and share it in the listing. Listings have been selling so fast that we haven't been doing it. But if this was part of your commitment, say, Michelle, I need to do a virtual tour of this office, of this brand new listing, and we'll do it. A property binder. We'll have to see if I have an example. Liz may have an example, Patty may have an example. Basically, a property binder is a 3-ring binder that you put at the property that has copy of the seller's disclosure, their utility information about the area, and you have it all there for when consumers are touring the property, they can just flip through and get helpful information about the property. So those are easy to make. Reverse prospecting is a feature of HAR where you can see a consumer has saved or liked the property, and then you can go back and say, hey, Realtor, your consumer liked this property, tell them we've had a price reduction. And then you'll give the seller a progress report of what's been happening in the market. So I know that this is a lot of stuff, and of course you'll never remember all of this, but this is designed to be, so what do you guys think of all this? I hope you are overwhelmed with everything that I just went through, because this is a lot of stuff. And I'll tell you, the 30 years that I've been in the industry, I have never come across an agent that has been this comprehensive. And why this is whoop-de to you guys is because very, very little of it are you paying for separately. And as you can see, the majority of this is automatic and happens, and there's very little that you have to do. But when you put all of this together, and there's, I don't know, 30 or 40 points of all of these activities that you're going to do, this helps overcome the commission reduction, right? Discount. It helps overcome the discount. So if somebody looks at everything that you are going to do to sell the house, they don't have to know that it doesn't cost you anything more. Then if they ask for the discount, you can say, first of all, why is it that tell me, I hear that you're saying that you want a discount. Why is it that you're looking for a discount? Oh, well, Joe Blow over here said he'll do it for 4.5. All right, so I understand somebody else has offered you a discount. Is the agent who's charging you less going to be doing all of the marketing that I'm going to do? And would you agree that the more marketing that is done, the more buyers we're exposed to, the more buyers we have, the more likely we're going to get a higher sales price? So when you have gone through all of this, it makes the commission discount objection incredibly easy to overcome. What of this do they not want you to do? Right? If I have to discount, what of this do you not want me to do? I promise it just makes it very, very easy.
Hey, Michelle, I have another question.
Yes.
I've noticed you have so many online and, Facebook type things. Does anybody still ask for or do the flyers or we just call them take ones, the things that are posted outside of people's yards, or is that frowned upon now or not?
No, it's actually still on here. Right, so here's the custom brochure and then install outdoor brochures. Yeah, so it's on there. We always
Is there somebody that can help us get that together or make a nice one?
It's automatic in Impact. Yes, it's automatic in Impact. The brochure box, you have to buy your own, but you can get, we used to do very, very nice ones outside because we found that that's how we got listings. So we put the brochures out, the very nice ones, because the people that took it were usually people in the neighborhood, and we wanted them to see that we did a fabulous listing brochure, and we got listings because they saw our listing brochures outside. But yes, there's 3 different programs in our company. You can easily make outside brochures for the brochure box. Any other questions? Good question, right?
Question. Yes, I have a question, Michelle.
Yes.
So has there ever been a time where agents competed? When you go to the appointments, there's another Gary Greene appointment from another agent?
I'm sure probably there has. I don't have an example that I can tell you about.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have an example that I can tell you, or I don't know for sure.
Okay, maybe it's a rare situation, but I was just wondering. Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay. And the thing about this process that I'm showing you is experienced agents don't do this because they didn't learn it that way. When they go on listing presentations, their experience, their confidence, all of that, like they're able to do things in a less comprehensive way than you guys would, just because of their experience and their reputation. But I guarantee you, if you went up against an experienced agent who didn't use this and you use this, I would bet money that a less experienced agent with a comprehensive marketing plan is going to beat out the experienced agent. Because sellers want to know, their biggest question is, what are you going to do to sell my house? And when you have a comprehensive plan to do that, you are unstoppable. Any other questions? So I have this in a Word doc that I'm going to share with you, so you guys can personalize it, of course, and make it your own. All right, the other thing that I want to go over is when I did listings, the hardest seller I ever dealt with was the seller that called me all the time, called me all the time, called me all the time. What are you doing to sell my house? What are you doing to sell my house? And when I finally learned that I want to call them before they call me, and that was one thing. I want to beat them to the call. But when sellers realized that I knew what I was doing and I did exactly what I said I was going to do, and I met my promises, that they kind of chilled out. They let go of the control. They realized that I knew what I was doing and she's meeting her promises. So when you set expectation on communication, how you're going to communicate to them and when you're going to communicate to them, that kind of lessens the frustration that they're going through. They know that you're going to call them on Monday 10 to 12. Now these times here were times that I put in where I always made my calls. So I made all my customer service calls Monday 10 to 12, and I was going to give them a phone call. I was going to review the feedback that I had received from the previous showings, and we would review if there were any recommendations that needed to be done based on the showings. And then towards the end of the week, I emailed them all of the reports. Like you can get the CSS reporting, you can get Market Insights, List Hub, all of these reports that you can get from our services. I would say, I'll call you on Monday, but I'm going to email you all of this stuff on Thursday. So now they've heard from me twice a week. And then on Friday, I would send them an update of my marketing status report or marketing commitment. So the marketing commitment that we just went through, there's a checklist called a marketing commitment update. It has the boxes that completely match all of the steps that I said I would do in my marketing commitment. On Friday, I'm going to send them an update and said, these are the 30 things I said that I've done this week. I've done these 20 or these 10. So I'm showing them this is what I promised and this is what I've completed so far this week. Some things it makes natural sense to get done right away, right? So doing the photographs, put it on the sale sign, putting it to all of the agents. These kind of things are going to happen automatically quick. But some of this other stuff may not happen until the second or third week. So my update would include what I have done for that week. And I'll send you, of course, that also. And then my communication commitment, and you set this time frame for whatever works for you. And then, of course, if I'm setting expectations that again, I know that you're going to have questions in it, that you may have questions that don't fall on these time frames. And of course, I'm going to call you back as soon as I'm able. All right. So again, what I'm going through is what is in this pre-listing drop-off. So here's a copy of a just listed postcard, copy of the of the listing brochure, and then seller homework checklist. Any questions before I continue on? Are y'all still with me? Okay. It's so hard when I can't really see you and I can't tell what's going on with you guys. So, all right. So when I'm dropping all this stuff to the seller in advance, there are a lot of times when you list a property that we need activities from the seller. We need information from them. So this seller homework checklist lists things that we will need from the seller when we list it. I give them this checklist in advance so they can start looking for these things, start thinking about these things. And if I get to the house and they have all of this stuff together and ready to go, what do you think that means for me? If I get there and they have this all ready to go, what does this likely mean for me?
You can list it quicker. It makes it so much easier.
Well, if they have this ready to go when I walk in the door, they're probably going to list with me.
Yeah, they're ready for you to list.
That's correct. That's correct. All right. So seller's exclusion list helps them think of everything that they need to take with them, or if they're going to take with them, that they're going to exclude or they're going to take out of the house. Utility information, utility phone numbers, and all right, that's it. So there's more homework things you can do. There's less homework things. This is just an example that I've seen used before. Now I've gone over all of the information. Do y'all have any questions? No? No? All right, so I had planned that I wanted you guys to practice the pre-listing interview. You guys want to practice with each other?
Michelle,
Yes,
can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. Well, we set up, Kathy and I set up each week. We started last week to do the pre-listed interview, and then we're going to take it further. But my question to you is, in the packet, do we give the seller's homework checklist and the exclusion when we drop off the packet as well, even though we're not sure whether or not we're going to get the listing?
I do it because I'm expecting to get the listing. And the answer is yes.
Okay.
It's in the back of the packet all together. It's in the back of the packet all together. So I think that is a mindset that I hope all of you instantly get to. We are going through all of this because we expect to get the listing. I am doing this because I expect to get the listing. So some agents have said, oh, I'm not gonna, when I go to the actual appointment, I'm not gonna take the listing papers because I don't know if I get it. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I went to the listing appointment with the papers because I expected to get it. My language, my body language or whatever was that I expected to get it. And I didn't want to not walk away with the listing and have somebody else come in behind me, somebody else recommend something and not have it. If I walk away with the listing with the signed listing agreement, I've got the listing.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with it prepared. All they had to do was fill it out and we just had to fill in the price. All right. Any other questions? No? So can you guys do it? Is there anything that you see that would keep you from being able to do a pre-listing interview and have your pre-listing drop off ready to go? No? All right, good. So if you want to practice the pre-listing interview with each other, do you want me to run it through for you and show you example? Or you guys are really just that easy and you're like, okay, we're done?
I was going to do a practice one with my husband if we think about selling our house.
Oh, okay. All right. Anybody else? Do you want me to go through it? Everybody's good?
Michelle, were you taking orders for those nice bags or have you already ordered those nice bags?
Yeah, no, I'm taking orders. The company had me share this process with all the other managers. So this is going to be going to become a Gary Greene way. And the other managers love the bags also. So they're not Gary Greenized yet, but they will be. So while Gary Greene provides everything else you need for the listing presentation, the bags is like the cherry on top. So they will not be providing the bags. So I have to have them custom ordered and they're going to be, I think, $3.60 a piece. So if you want the bags, I have to have a minimum order of 150, and I'm hoping company-wide we'll be able to get the minimum order of 150. So if you want to put an order in for bags, if you just send me an email that says, hey, I would like 5, I would like 10, whatever, however many bags you want, I'll add that part of the total. And when I make an order, I'll let you know, and then you can just pay for the bags that you're going to be ordering.
Okay.
How much are the bags?
I think they're $3.60 a piece.
That's
Can I
good
put-
because I really like those bags.
I do. Can I request 10 bags now with you, or do you want me to send it an email or text?
I prefer that you email them to me so I can always find them.
Okay.
Because it's going to be, most of the managers are presenting this same information in their office meeting today. So hopefully by the end of this week, I'll be able to have put enough orders together to be able to get them.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to have any trouble getting enough orders.
I hope not. This has been
They're a nice bag.
This has been a 4-year project ever since I came to Gary Greene because I had these at Heritage. Only a few
The
people
bag's been 4 years?
I've been wanting to get this for 4 years. And Julia was the first one who found the right size with the plastic handles that I've wanted, with the frosted and everything. So it's been like a 4-year dream for me to have this.
That makes me feel better about my listing presentation. It's like a 4-year process.
Yeah.
Those are great for your gifts, your closing gifts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a variety of things you can, but it's the perfect size for the pre-listing drop off. Oh, you can't see that one good, but it's the perfect size. So, all right. Well, that's all that I wanted to share. If anybody has any other questions? No? You guys are very easy and compliant. You just sit there and listen to me talk. All right. Well, I'm going to send an email with everything that I went over. Remember that you're going to personalize your marketing commitment, and you want to make your marketing commitment update match so the checklists are exactly the same. Send an email for the bags, and these are upfront with Julia, so just come and get them and then start personalizing and putting together the stuff for the inside.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks guys.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, see
And
ya.
Michelle, you said we had the special paper for,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, the green paper, Julia has it. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.